I remember the sound first. Not the insult, not the laughter, just the cold strike of cutlery against porcelain, a sound that felt like a blade scraping down my spine. Thanksgiving night, everyone glowing under chandelier light except me. I was there, yet not there. Father raised his glass, voice rich with pride reserved only for one child. To Daniel, the pride of this family and the true legacy. Then, casually, almost absent-mindedly, he added, and to her, may she find a purpose one day. Not my name, just her. Like I was a misplaced object in my own home. The room laughed. Polite smiles, clinking glasses. Daniel leaned back, confident, shining like the sun that burned anything too close. Mother's eyes flickered to me, then away, as though I was a stain she hoped guests wouldn't notice. 10 seconds, and my heart became glass. Cracked, but not shattered. Not yet. I kept my food quietly, pretending it tasted the same after my value was dismissed with a toast. But inside, something broke loose. Not defeat, but awakening. It was the moment I decided I would no longer beg for a seat at a table that never offered me one. My childhood was a room where everyone spoke, but no one listened. I was raised next to applause I never earned because the script never gave me lines. Daniel didn't just get praise, he was drenched in it. Sports trophies, debate medals, framed certificates, entire shelves groaned under the weight of his glory. There was no space for me. My certificates curled in plastic folders inside a drawer only I ever opened. Birthdays? Daniel's were events. Mine were dates someone remembered at dinner, halfway through dessert. My girl, what should we do for your birthday? Always asked on the day itself. Too late, too rushed, too forced. Photos of him adorned the hallway, smiling, winning, perfect. Photos of me? 1 or 2. Class pictures where I stood at the edge, hair a little messy, eyes carrying stories no one paused long enough to read. I didn't break rules. I didn't scream for attention. Maybe that was my biggest mistake, thinking goodness alone earns love. But life has a darker lesson. Sometimes silence is mistaken for insignificance. My childhood was a room where everyone spoke, but no one listened. I was raised next to applause I never earned because the script never gave me lines. Daniel didn't just get praise, he was drenched in it. Sports trophies, debate medals, framed certificates, entire shelves groaned under the weight of his glory. There was no space for me. My certificates curled in plastic folders inside a drawer only I ever opened. Birthdays? Daniel's were events. Mine were dates someone remembered at dinner, halfway through dessert. My girl, what should we do for your birthday? Always asked on the day itself. Too late, too rushed, too forced. Photos of him adorned the hallway. Smiling, winning, perfect. Photos of me? 1 or 2. Class pictures where I stood at the edge, hair a little messy, eyes carrying stories no one paused long enough to read. I didn't break rules. I didn't scream for attention. Maybe that was my biggest mistake, thinking goodness alone earns love. But life has a darker lesson. Sometimes silence is mistaken for insignificance. The garage was dusty, crowded, forgotten. Just like me. But in it, I found a place where things made sense. Machines did not ask who I was compared to Daniel. Engines didn't measure worth in trophies. Metal didn't love one child more than another. If it broke, you could understand why. Fix it. Improve it. A small radio sparked my journey. Broken, tossed aside. I spent nights figuring out why it hummed but wouldn't sing. When it crackled back to life under my fingertips, I smiled alone in that garage. The kind of smile you give yourself when no one else will. Later, I built a motorbike engine from discarded parts. No applause, no acknowledgement, just a nod from the neighborhood mechanic who said quietly to me one evening, "You've got something rare. Don't waste it." And that was enough to fuel me for years. At 19, I won an engineering award, the first real recognition of my potential. On stage, as cameras flashed, I scanned the empty seats where family should have been. Daniel had a tennis match. That mattered more. So I lifted the trophy myself, heavy, cold, grounding, and whispered in my mind, "If no one claps for me, I will clap for myself." Thanksgiving humiliation wasn't a single wound. It was the final cut on an old scar. After dinner, while the house slept with full stomachs and fuller egos, I folded clothes in silence. No goodbye, no note, no scene. Leaving quietly was my final childlike habit, the last time I exited without being seen. The bus station smelled like rain and exhaust fumes. I held a suitcase that weighed less than the memories I carried. My breath was shaky, but my resolve was steel. City lights greeted me, harsh, indifferent, alive. I felt small, but at least I felt real, not invisible, not compared. Just a girl with ambition and aching hands. Rent was a battle. I slept on a mattress thin enough to feel the floor beneath dreams, worked in a motorcycle workshop by day, studied engineering by night. Noodles 3 times a week, bread and hope on the others. I broke down sometimes, quietly, alone. Not because I was weak, but because holding pain for years builds pressure. One night, I cried into an engine block, tears mixing with oil, and when I finished crying, I kept fixing it. Pain taught me persistence. Neglect taught me self-reliance. Loneliness taught me identity. I built skills instead of stories, connections instead of complaints. And slowly, the world noticed. A wealthy customer brought a rare bike once. Others refused to fix it. They said it was impossible. So I did the impossible. He returned shocked, then impressed, then interested. His connections opened doors I never knew existed. Soon I was consulting on engine prototypes, then co-creating tech solutions, then leading development teams, despite being the youngest in the room. Misogyny? Oh, I faced it. Dismissal? Plenty. Men called me kid. I let my work speak louder than my voice could. I stayed late, reworked designs, predicted failures no one else saw, and eventually, they stopped calling me kid. They started calling me boss. My company was born from midnight coding, greasy fingers, 2-hour sleep cycles, and stubborn dreams. Investors laughed in early meetings. Later, they begged for a seat at my table. Funny how tables turn when you build one yourself. Within 8 years, we weren't just successful, we were innovators. A patent for fuel-efficient hybrid engines, partnerships with automotive giants, my name in engineering forums, articles, interviews, recognition. Not for being Daniel's sister, but for being me. The universe has a cruel sense of timing. Just when I made peace with never hearing from them, my assistant entered my office holding her phone like a fragile secret. "There's a man on the line. He says he's your father?" My pulse thundered. Years collapsed into one trembling moment. I answered calmly, voice steady, unlike my heart. Daniel had lost his job. Debt gnawed at him. The pedestal cracked under his feet. Golden children fall hardest. Father asked for help, Not gently, but expectantly, like entitlement survived everything. I invited them to my company headquarters, not as a reunion, as a reckoning. Daniel arrived smaller, humbled, with desperation in his eyes. He requested a job, not as a leader, but as a struggling man with no map. I offered him a junior position, low rank, fair pay, hard work. No favoritism, no shortcuts. Father was furious when he found out. How dare I make his son start at the bottom? How dare I forget my place? But that's the thing. I had created a new place, and they were the ones stepping into my world now. Daniel struggled at first. People didn't bow to his legacy here. Merit ruled. Results mattered, not last names. He complained. He stumbled. He contemplated quitting. But I didn't rescue him, because rescue is how people remain weak. I led silently, observed, waited. Slowly, painfully, he changed. He asked questions, learned from younger engineers, admitted mistakes. Arrogance leaked out like poison drained from a wound. Months later, he built a design improvement I didn't see coming, and I praised him, publicly, generously, the way I once wished someone praised me. And that day, I think he finally understood what it felt like to be me all those years. Meanwhile, Father resisted. He visited once, looked around my office with silent jealousy. Success unsettled him, especially mine. I wasn't supposed to outgrow the box they placed me in. Control slipped through his fingers, and he felt it. When invitations to events came, reporters wanted me, not him, not Daniel. The family narrative shifted, permanently. Mother, quietly, began sending messages. Soft, careful, regret-tinted. I saw your interview. You looked so confident. Late apologies taste bitter, but I accepted her attempts. Forgiveness doesn't excuse the past, it frees the future. Years later, when my company launched a revolutionary engine model, we hosted a global expo. I invited my family. Front row. Names in gold on their seats. Ironic, isn't it? Not to show off, not to boast, but to demonstrate something far more powerful. I didn't rise to make them small. I rose, so I never had to be small again. They arrived with stiff shoulders and forced smiles. Not sure how to greet a daughter they once overlooked. Success makes ghosts visible. Backstage, I saw Father, older, frailer, pride diluted into uncertainty. He tried to speak, words tangled in his throat like regret. I didn't wait for an apology. Some wounds don't need words to heal. They need closure. So I walked on stage under blinding lights, not as their daughter, but as a woman who rebuilt herself from scraps. I told my story, raw, unfiltered, unapologetic. The room listened like the universe itself finally leaned in. I watched Father lower his gaze, not in shame alone, but in realization. Realization that the child they dismissed became the foundation they now leaned on. He didn't lose a daughter. He lost the illusion of superiority. That was the revenge, not of destruction, but revelation. We don't do Thanksgiving anymore. That chapter closed the day I walked out quietly. Now we meet on a day I chose, the anniversary of my company's launch, a celebration of beginnings, not burdens. Everyone sits equally. No head of table, no golden child, no forgotten one. Daniel leads his department now, earned through sweat, not surname. He respects me not because I'm his sister, but because I'm a leader. Mother hugs me tighter each visit. Her eyes carry years she cannot undo, but effort she now offers freely. Father speaks less, listens more. Power recalibrated. Respect was not demanded, it was inevitable. Sometimes silence returns, soft and nostalgic. But now it is peace, not pain. Because I understand the truth. My value was never theirs to define. It was mine to build. If you're listening and you have felt invisible, ignored, overshadowed, dismissed, remember this. You are not responsible for the blindness of others. You are responsible for the fire inside you. Build yourself quietly. Let success make the noise they once denied you. You don't need to destroy them to win. Outgrow them, outshine them, outlive the version of you that needed their validation. That is the sweetest revenge, becoming so whole that those who left you empty must watch you overflow. And they will. They didn't see me when I was small, but they cannot ignore me now that I became everything they never imagined. Let them comment. Let them feel. Let them remember.